everyone, and welcome to another experience with Doctor Up. We are so excited about today's topic where we are talking about upscaling. Now, you may ask, what is upscaling? And we have our gifted student with us to kind of let us all define upscaling, if you would. Dr. Cat?
Well, I'm not the expert and definitive person on a definition, but when I think upscaling, I'm thinking elevating. So basically, we're going to talk about how to elevate our lives, or what we consider an elevation, and what it will take to get there. So this will be um, definitely tips for you to use, but it also will be individual experiences and individual paths to upscale our life. So just think of it that way: as elevate.
So for today's episode, I am your host, Dr. Bob. We also have with us today
Dr. Felicia, Dr. PP,
and
Dr. Katrina, which is Dr. Cat.
And boy, this is a good one. You know, there is a major industry right now with self-improvement. Different industries from all over are making money on people trying to improve themselves in some way, improve their self-worth, improve their self-health, improve their self-mental stability. So today we want to talk about upscaling, where we're kind of touching on all of those areas as we see fit or deem necessary. And we just want to share with you some ways in which we look at upscaling and perhaps influence you to look at upscaling in a different way or just kind of solidify what you're already thinking. So today we're talking about upscaling. But what does that look like for an individual? You ever thought about that? I mean, many of us think about improving ourselves, but do we visualize the finished product? And hopefully, after today's conversation, we can help you visualize your finished product and then help you on your journey to upscaling. So, what do you think a successful life would be? We upscale to a better place in life. So, what do you think a successful life look like? I'll start with you, Dr. Fee, if you would. What do you think a successful life looks like?
Well, I was thinking about that as we were kind of, you were hammering out your questions earlier. It's ever evolving for me in that, in a lot of ways, it's my vision is growing and getting broader as to what a successful life looks like. As we kind of are coming up in the world, we attach success to all the trappings, the houses and the cars,
Material things,
the big bank accounts and things like that, which, those can certainly be aspects of what we all consider to be a successful life. But older I get, and particularly at this juncture of my life, success in life for me right now is about alignment with God's will for my life, and really me sort of shedding what society's standard or expectations of success are, and again aligning with what not just God's will, because ultimately that's what I want, but really honing in on what do I really want that is not influenced by, the gaze of some exterior standard or whatever that, I've been subjecting myself to consciously or unconsciously all this time. And so for me, it's alignment, and it's, walking in God's will for my life, and abundance in all things and all the great things that he has for me. So for sure it's that. As a mom, it's making sure my daughter's good, and so that's huge for me. Her well-being and my ability to provide that is success for me. So I can pin it there.
That's interesting that you would say some of those things because, as far as I can see, society nowadays, they have a lot of influence on what we do, what we think success is, and very rarely do you hear society say that success is being in God's will. And I know that's a shift for this country. We used to be, in my mind, much more spiritually focused. But nowadays, it just seems like we're, as a country, as a nation, we're not that focused anymore. But that's, I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Dr. Cat, what about you? What does that ideal life look like?
For me, my ideal life would be me, it does tie to God because I want to make sure I'm walking in my purpose. And I know my purpose is to be an example and to teach. And so the majority of that for me is service. And so anytime I can make sure that I am in service with whatever my gifts are, that I can use them to help other people, then that's an ideal life for me. With that, I would say I have to keep myself, in tip-top shape. Okay, and that's mentally, spiritually, and physically. So an ideal life for me will be having the time to do everything I need to do to build myself up so I can pour myself out for others. So that's an ideal life. I would have time to work out all the time, all the time that I need to. That's why me and Dr. P are always in workout gear because we've made that space in our life, to make that a priority. Also to make sure when we talk about stability, like how you talked about your daughter, making sure that I always have somewhere to live. That's to my satisfaction. And to make sure that my pets are never homeless. I don't want to send them to the shelter at any point in their lives. Also making sure whatever I deem as, nutritious for me, having those types of foods in my life, not having to buy, the cheapest food just to get by. I want to be able to buy what my body needs and nurture it the way it needs to be nurtured. And all those things, making sure that my cup is full will make sure that I'm able to help others. So and that can look however it looks. I don't have to live in a mansion because who's going to heat and cool and clean it? It won't be me. So I need to have enough space that I need. I need to have the materials that I need. So I need all my needs met and all my desires. And my desires change, So clearly, all needs need to be met first. The desires will come, and I feel like the desires will be met because I'm at a point in my life where I'm realizing that my source is not my job. My source is God. And so I just tell him what I need, what I want, and then I let go of what that looks like. And for me, so I don't need a mansion. I know God is limitless, right? So he can give me the mansion if I ask that, but I'm not asking that. I'm asking to have my needs taken care of, my desires to be taken care of, so that I can take care of my loved ones and take care of everyone around me that needs to be taken care of. Because for me, that is what my purpose is, to literally take care of others and service others. So that's an ideal life. And it can look different ways, and I'm sure we'll get into that with the question.
That's interesting, very interesting. And it makes me realize just how blessed I am because God is important to me in my life. As many of the older people would say, he's the head of my life, and I really believe that he is the head of my life. And I'm fortunate to have friends around me who value God the way I value God, and I'm very blessed in that. Now, for success for me, when I think about it, no one picture comes to mind. I want to be happy in what I'm doing. I want to have freedom to do whatever it is I want to do. And if I had to think about a picture, maybe I desire the freedom to live maybe in a tiny house on the prairie this month, and maybe in a mansion next month. If that's what I want, then I want to be able to do that. Whatever makes me happy in that moment. As time changes, our desires change. So I want to be happy yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Whatever changes I make in my life. And I think if I had to sum it up in a word, outside of being in God's will, which I do desire that, I just want freedom. I want freedom to live the way I want in that moment. And just to have the things that I want. And not just the needs. I'm already blessed to have all the needs that I should have. I got clothes on my back, shoes on my feet, food to eat, and really choices of food to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably way too much food. But I have everything I need, and I'm thankful for that. And I guess freedom to have the things that I want to.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's a problem either. So
No.
I think, being in God's will.
Mhm.
But I get joy from helping people get better.
Mhm.
So this topic, upscaling, is important to me because I see it as an opportunity to help someone get better. And maybe if you put in the comments, your view of upscaling, and maybe even your needs and desires for upscaling, maybe we can help you improve your life and upscale your life with some of the experiences that we've had, some of the knowledge that we share. Maybe something there, a little nugget here or there can help you upscale your life, and we're excited. And if that is the case and you are in the process of upscaling or decide to upscale after seeing this episode, then allow us to help you in some way that would, I'm sure, thrill us all. We are excited about that. But I do encourage you to think about what a successful life looks like. So define that for yourself, get a picture for yourself so that you have something that you can look forward to, something tangible, something that means something to you, so that you can visualize your success and know when you get there.
Absolutely.
Yes, like a vision board. Like a vision board. It could be tangible or it could be mental,
Digital.
but you need to know where you're headed.
Absolutely.
And you need to know what it looks like so that you'll know to celebrate when you've achieved it.
I agree. And
Yeah.
there's a
And what
saying
it
that
feels
says,
like.
Exactly.
if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
Every time, yeah,
And
for
the
sure.
other,
Plan to fail.
yes,
Mhm,
and the other
mhm.
analogy that I would share with my students often was if you go to the grocery store with no list, you're just kind of randomly picking up items. You get home, you don't have anything to make a meal with because you didn't go with a plan. But when you have a checklist, okay, I'm hitting my targets. I'm getting what I'm supposed to get. So it is important, to your point, Dr. Bobby, to have, a clear idea of what you want.
Yeah, it's
And
like
so-
me, because I have challenges at times with directions, right? And if I say I'm going somewhere and I get in my car, I don't have the directions and I don't use GPS, then how am I going to get there? I know what it looks like. I have an idea of what it's going to be like when I get there, but how will I get there?
Sure.
Interestingly enough, I went to the grocery store yesterday and I just wanted to find something to eat. I didn't want what was in the house, so I was just going, hoping to see something that would catch my eye.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing all of these sales, buy one, get one.
Buy two, get three.
Right.
We just bought two and got three. And I was like, the lady said, get five. I was like, five?
Yeah, it was so funny to me. I laughed at
now.
myself because when I walked into the store, I just got one of those little green baskets. I only want just something for that moment.
Yeah.
And then after I started seeing all of these quote unquote good deals,
Let me go back
I gotta go get a basket.
We got a small basket. And she was like, let me go get you another basket.
Oh,
By the
my
time we
God.
left, we ended up with so much.
Yeah, that was that's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, do make a list, know what you're shooting for so that other things won't distract you. Sometimes things look good in the moment, but they're not for you in that moment. So make sure you make a list of the things you want to accomplish, those things you want to achieve, so that you can stay focused on your goal and work hard, because there will be distractors.
For sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, a lot of people, when they're upscaling, they tend to improve themselves personally, and they learn a new skill or they gain a new hobby. So have you ladies developed a new skill, or are you developing a new skill or a new hobby? Dr. Cat, talk to us about that. I think you mentioned something you're doing.
I'm always doing something.
Always.
Always know that. I'll see somebody say, oh, I'm learning this. And they be like, okay, here we go. Well, with the podcast, I always wanted to have a YouTube channel, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time. When I tell you I bought all the tripods, everything that you could think of, I have different types of tripods. Even the ones stick on your mirror so people can see what you're doing. Just bought the one that goes around your neck so you can see, right in front of me. I bought all the mics and everything you could think of. The little, what's that? Gimlet? Well, I don't know. So anyway, I bought everything and never started, right? And then I finally, after meditating and stuff, I finally realized, okay, what can I do that's within my purpose and, spiritual gifts and things like that. So we landed at the podcast. That's one avenue. And so I had to start learning to edit. Like I saw it all the time, watched all the videos, never did it, never made a video, never made a thumbnail, never added audio, none of those things. And then after we filmed our first episode, I did it, and I was just like, woo! And so I'm gonna be the best editor in the world, and I will. So that's one thing I'm working on. I just took a gifted class. It just ended. I did it for the month of August. It just ended, and so it was like really understanding your spiritual gifts and really learning more about leaning, into your intuition. And so that's something else that I worked on, because for me, the editing, learning how to edit videos and things like that, and the class about, being gifted, all of those things are helping me, again, with my purpose and with the ideal upscale life that I have. Certain things I have to know how to do.
Sure.
And yes, you can always pay somebody to edit videos, but I don't believe in that. I'm a learner. I'm a lifelong learner, so that's something that I'm learning to do. There's so many other things, because I do a lot of things. So anyway, I'm also working on, and it's amazing because, Felicia doesn't know this, Dr. Fee doesn't know this, but we were talking about hair growth oil, and I've had one that I've been using for years that I've created, and I've been adding more, different things to it, and because I cut my hair and then it grew all back, and then I had to cut it again, and now it's growing back again, and I was like, I'm not going to buy anybody else's oil. I'm going to do my own. So I did all the research, of course I talked to my doctor, and he's a holistic doctor. And I thought about all the things he told me to do over the years, and I put them all together. So I have a hair growth oil that I'm working on, but I'm really researching on how, to preserve it, for one, so it can last longer. How long does it need to sit? Because I have one oil that only sits for a week and one that sits for 6 weeks. It just depends on how long it takes for the everything to fuse together. So that's another thing that I'm learning as well, because I got to watch videos, and I watch other people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. So that's another thing that I'm learning too as well. And not to say I'm trying to make money off hair growth oil. To me, that's service. So when someone says to me, hey, I need some hair growth oil, here you go. I need some lotion, here you go. I need some deodorant, here you go. Because anybody knows me will be like, you can do everything. No, but I'm telling you, when I get fixated on something, I learn it. So those are the 3 things I'm really concentrating on right now, and I'll probably think of something later.
For sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure you will. So, Dr. Fee?
I won't say that I'm necessarily learning a new skill right now. There's some things that I'm considering picking up, but none that I've, gotten started with. And I won't lie and say that this is a hobby, but what I'm actively engaged in is paying more attention to my physical health.
Yeah, me too.
And so I've committed to, along with what Dr. Kat said, us getting up and working out. We did a lot of cardio in the first phase of this journey, but now we've shifted to strength training.
And looking at macros.
Looking at the nutrition protein, part of it. And so I guess you could consider
that's something that it is, because we're looking at how to do exercise, which one to do,
how to do this,
how long,
in a way that works in harmony with what your body's supposed to be doing, and not just sort of, in the dark, sort of bumping around. And so that's been, it's challenging, but it's fun, and it's, I can already kind of see some changes, and so I'm looking forward to, hitting those targets, hitting those goals, the vision that I have for myself. And, I have body goals. I have, the people in mind, like, I want to look like that. Right. Or even, I don't necessarily need to look like my old self. But just, I want to be in optimum health. And so, that's been something that I've picked up and have been consistently committed to. And so I'm proud of myself and us for that.
Because I consider that upscaling, because think about it. Yes. That's how you show up for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you don't ever want to be in a situation where you go somewhere and then you don't feel your best because you feel like you don't look your best.
Yes.
And when you're upscaling and you're trying to get to another level, then you're going to be in more elevated places. And it's so funny. I know it's probably, it probably has, maybe it does have something to do with that. But I can always see what the future is going to be. And I always know when I start a venture, I'm like, oh, that's going to pan out. So we already have a lot of other things in the works that we know are going to pan out.
Mhm.
And I literally thought this driving to the gym today, and I was like, if somebody right now were to ask me to put on an elegant dress, like to dress up and do like black tie or whatever, what would I wear? Because I really was thinking about my body and what it looked like, and I know what I used to wear. What I wear with the like plunging, and then because everything was all flat and little, and I thought, and I knew what I would want to wear, and I thought, well, do I have the body right now to wear that? And the thing is, if somebody asked me to go tomorrow, I might pull it together because I could do that. But I thought, that's why it's always important to already be ready, as they say, instead of having to get ready.
Yeah.
And we already know where we're going. Sure. You know what I mean? And so, with that being said, I'm like, we're doing what it takes. So this is the step that we need to take in order to upscale. So when we are at that moment and in that time, we're already ready. We're already looking the way we want to look. We don't want to get there and then not, you know what I mean? So this is a step to upscaling. We're working on our health and we're working on our physique and it's fine if we didn't change at all, but we want to look different. So we are working toward doing that. So that's another thing we're working on because we literally watch videos. We send each other things. We talk about things. I saw this. I saw that. I read this. I read that. So that's something else that we're actually a skill that we're learning.
And I'll add to that in terms of, the broad picture of upscaling, the working out, it just all feeds into each other because it helps with your outlook. Mm-hmm. One good habit begets another, begets another. Better. If you're out of sorts physically, then you're going to be out of sorts with your mental health. Yes. It's just the truth. With your outlook, with your peace, not being unable to find that peace and rest and all that. And so it all works in tandem, all works hand in hand. And so that's why I'm really excited about this because I see and feel a change already. And so to know that it is preparing us for what's coming next in so many ways, in tangible ways.
Right, you got to have the stamina to do all the things that you say you want to do.
And again, there's not enough that can be said about your outlook, your mental health. So I would challenge those of you out there who are struggling with you're wanting your life to get better and be better. And some things you feel are out of reach or out of your control, but you can, for those of us who are able-bodied, get up and go outside and walk. Get some vitamin D. You will be shocked at how it will change. And then again, one good habit begets another and another. You'll start saying, okay, I don't want to just, throw away my workout or my walk or on empty calories. So let me be more mindful of what I'm taking in. Right. And so it all feeds on itself. And so I would encourage, and that's just with anything, but I'm excited about this. I wouldn't say it's a hobby yet.
No, it's not a hobby because I feel like it's a lifestyle that may have began as maybe a hobby in a sense or something new that we're learning. But and it's not that we never worked out before, but we're focusing on it now. But it's something that because remember we were talking about upscaling to the life that you want, and part of that will be being in shape and being healthy. And so it's really a part of a lifestyle because let's just say things start getting really hectic. And we have to now do a lot of things that take up our time within the day. If this is a non-negotiable, then we'll carve out time to make sure we work out. Whether it's when we wake up, or when we go to sleep, or in the middle of the day, for a good hour, we carve it out. We know what we're doing for strength training. We've gotten it down to like 30 to 45 minutes, 45 for the most. And then we go and because, cardio is not as much as, so see what I'm saying? Yeah. So now that we know what to do, because this is what we're doing to prepare, when we have to switch it up, we'll switch it up. But we know it's going to be a part of our day because we see the results of it. And we see that it'll help us maintain, where we're going.
Well, that's interesting. I think what we need to really focus on in a lot of that is preparing yourself mentally for whether you're picking up a new skill or a new hobby. Prepare yourself mentally for that so that you can have that mental stability or fortitude to see your efforts through. For me, I've developed a new hobby. I shared with you guys that I had recently retired. So I picked up a new hobby to kind of fill actually two new hobbies to fill my day, my time to help me to feel accomplished at the end of the day. One is gardening. I've shared some of that with the ladies. But I started gardening. And it's flourishing. My garden is flourishing.
What you going to Dr. Bobby?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
I'm gonna try and insert some pictures in this so you'll be able to see what he's what he's doing.
For the first time in my life, I am growing strawberries.
Okay.
And they are delicious.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
everything.
No, because you haven't brought any.
Oh,
share.
well,
I
get around to that.
That's the next step. Okay.
I get around to that.
I
share pictures.
Yeah, pictures, right. We haven't handed nobody anything, right.
But I'll get around to sharing your product too.
Y'all heard it.
When we have
Y'all
that harvest day, it's gonna be harvest for all of us. Yeah, for sure. But man, it's amazing how good, fresh, organic food tastes. The difference between what you grow in the garden organically and what you buy in the store is like night and day. And I am so excited about that because seemingly the strawberries are sweeter. They're redder. I have tomatoes in my garden and they taste so good.
Man, that's one thing I know for sure. Those tomatoes taste different.
They are delicious.
It's a difference. When you grow them and you pull them and then from the grocery store.
And I've gotten them, red in their full development, and I've actually had fried green tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
Now it's amazing. I'm a country boy from Mississippi. I am not used to eating fried green tomatoes, but my wife from Charleston, South Carolina, cooked some fried green tomatoes, and I've been desiring them every day. Talk about good. Oh my goodness. And when you know that your hands turn the dirt, put the seed in the ground, water them daily, and in my case, talk to them frequently to make sure they know you want them to grow. You're encouraging your plants to grow.
What they're about to do.
For sure, yes.
You die so that I may live.
That I may live better, not just live, but live better.
More abundantly.
Yes, more abundantly. It's an amazing thing. So, strawberries, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, spinach, assorted lettuces, onions.
You said watermelon, right?
Watermelon. I was saving that for I'm so thrilled about my watermelon.
They're growing.
Man, they are growing.
Pictures.
Talk about abundantly.
I hope I can get one.
Oh, for sure. There's enough on the vine right now to share with both of you, and I'm excited to do so. And it's just, I also have roses growing. I think, my little treat to the bees and the things that pollinate the plants.
Yeah.
So I planted some roses and they're beautiful. Just excited about getting my hands in the dirt and connecting with my roots. I'm a country boy. Yeah. We grow gardens all the time. That's how we survive. And now I'm doing it because I want to. I mean, I wanted so desperately to get out of the garden when I was a kid because it was so much work.
It was work for someone else.
Yeah, it was work. Well, it was for us all. We knew that.
But you know what I mean.
But yeah,
the pleasure wasn't there because in the end, it wasn't all going to you, just you.
Exactly. And now
like you feel you had to do instead of
Yeah, so I get up.
I can easily go buy the stuff.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean.
And I'm blessed that way. I can go and buy the things that I want to eat. But it's just something about getting your hands in the dirt, growing your own food.
It's ground. It's another way to ground.
Getting that.
Yeah, it's another way of grounding besides putting your feet in the dirt. It's your hand. Same thing. It's ground. It's connecting to the energy of the earth. You're connecting to nature. Yeah. It's the way I think we were designed to live. Really. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just an amazing thing. It's almost like you're. In addition to getting back to my personal roots, it's like getting back to the life that God meant for you. The earth will provide for you. Absolutely. You come from the earth, and everything you need should come from the earth as well. So I mean, it's just a great hobby for me, and I can say it's a hobby because it's something that I chose to do for me, and it causes me to develop my second hobby, which is taking the time to read more. When I worked a 9 to 5, I read what I had to, and then there was just so much more work
Sure.
to be done around that. But now I read because I want to,
Right.
and I can select what I want to
That's
read.
right.
And right now I'm reading a lot about how to grow plants in an organic way
Yeah.
without adding any outside nutrients or
Right.
outside pesticides or
Mhm.
anything like that to grow your plants. And I am totally engaged in
Very
that
cool.
and learning a lot. Learning a lot. So yeah, and this is a major part
this
of
is
my upscaling too.
yeah, for all of us. This
For
is
sure.
new.
Yeah.
We're all learning about podcasting and things like
Absolutely.
that,
Yeah.
and questions, informing them,
In
and
real time.
yes,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
interviewing, and every time we look at ourselves on the videos, we'll look. I think I know I do. I was okay. Well, next time I'm gonna pay more attention to this. And
Yeah.
so I'm learning on how I show up on the camera. And meaning, can people even understand me? Because I talk really fast, and I know a lot of times I'll listen. I was like, they didn't hear that.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna
now
need some,
I'm working on
closed
slowing
captioning
down.
for some of these.
Yeah, I'm working on slowing down. And I'm working on making sure I stick to what we're talking about and bringing it back to the topic.
Yes.
Because sometimes if we go so far into discussing something, we might forget what it's all about. So I keep bringing it back to, like right now, I keep saying, we're upscaling. Just bringing it back because that's what this is about. And I don't want you to think, oh, that's not really what. No, all of the conversation, all of the examples are a part of that. And to kind of just basically bring it back and show you how it is. So I have to work on that. But again, it's a part of this and a part of the learning process, and we're learning about podcasting and what we have to do to make sure we're giving the audience what they're asking for.
And for me, I think when you're upscaling and in doing something that you enjoy doing, it makes it so much more easy to do it.
Yes.
And you enjoy the journey more.
Yes.
Yes, you want to reach your goal and you want to celebrate when you get there.
Right.
But the journey itself,
It's all about the journey.
yes,
It's about
the journey itself
for
is
sure.
valuable. There's
Right.
all of the learning comes in that journey.
That's right.
And you should be enjoying every step of the way. Now, it doesn't mean you won't have some hurdles to jump. It doesn't mean that there won't be work to do.
That's life.
But man, the journey should be something you enjoy. So as you improve yourself and upscale yourself, enjoy the journey.
Right.
Enjoy the journey.
You enter to learn, exit to serve. So
Come
we're
on.
learning all of this so we can then help others.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, in this process, I get it. It's not all peaches and creams. There are some things that may bring a bit of fear to us in this journey, and maybe to you in your journey. Change is not the easiest thing in the world to do. To upscale yourself may not be the easiest thing in the world to do. So, what are some of those things that maybe scare you a little bit or bring maybe a little fear?
Yeah.
I don't like to use that term fear, but
Sure.
what are some of those things that scare you on your journey to upscaling your life?
I'll say this about that. Again, I touched on it a little earlier with the first question, but it's really shedding the idea of how it has to happen, how it has to unfold, and it's letting go of the control of it.
Mhm.
And so that has been where I've been on my at in this season is letting go and letting God.
Mhm.
What has become so apparent, like for me, is
That's
that I have
giving me trouble.
what's become apparent for me is that I've let fear, dictate a lot of my decision making because I'm trying to do things in my own strength. And so I will limit or have been guilty of limiting myself based on, it has to make sense to me. Well, I have this education and I have this experience and I have this track record. And so this is what where I think I can go in this realm, but with God, like all things are possible. Like,
amen. All things are possible.
And so letting go of what it has to look like. And, I heard somebody say on the radio today, like, not the radio, Lord, I don't even listen to the radio, on a YouTube video I was watching. If you're so wrapped up in yourself, that's a very small package. Like, you really have to let God orchestrate, curate these things in your life. And we tell him what we want. And that's another thing, freeing myself to, I don't have. It doesn't have to make sense from what my background was,
No.
and so letting go of the fear of things not coming into fruition. No, I want exactly the cake God has baked for me. I want that's what I want, and it's gonna be. I could never even imagine putting something together because it's not in my capacity to do it. And if all I get is what I can control, what I can make happen, it's like, is that all I want? So no, I want what God has, and so I think for me the fear with upscaling or changing my life has been, did did I have enough for where I want to go? For the life that I want, which is this, big life, however you qualify big, but like, is do I have what? No, you don't. But God has it. Right. He has it all in mind. He has me in mind and my daughter and all of that. So I think that was something that it is something that I'm constantly being reminded of, like, take the limits off, take the brakes off. There's no limits in God. There's none of that. And understanding that I can have what I want. And and particularly if it's aligned with what God wants for me. So it's a process. So I was laughing with Dr. Kat this morning on our walk about what I had heard on that video as well, where the gentleman who was delivering the message, he said, we talk about things being a process all the time, and so we can make a proclamation or a commitment or a decision, but our spirit man kind of lining up with that is a process. And so the guy who was talking said, we present our bodies as a living sacrifice. He said the only problem is it keeps crawling off the altar. Right. I give it to God, and I'm like, okay, God, I give it to God, but God, let me just tinker with this little part of it, because I know you're busy, I know you got stuff going on. So letting go of the fear and fully trusting, I think, is what I'm kind of bumping up against. What the long-winded point I'm making is letting go of fear and learning to trust, walking trust in total faith. So yeah, keep crawling off that altar.
Well, if I may, let me share a little bit about my deal, because I think it connects with what you're saying. Okay. I've always been one who desired, fed off of, and just totally enjoyed being in charge, being in command, knowing what's next, no surprises kind of thing. I figured if it could be done, then I should do it my way, because I can control the outcome, and I'm good with whether it happens or not. I'm good with it because I let it. Right. And even in this conversation, even in this little group that we have, I find myself, let me control this. Let me do that. I don't know. Maybe it's just a part of who I am. Yeah, they say Leos are like that. Absolutely. So absolutely. I'm a Leo, and hey, I accept that. I'm good with that. I love that. But sometimes when you're upscaling, you have to let go of that control, because you want something that you don't have. Maybe it's not even in your capacity right now. So you have to learn a new skill or develop a new hobby, or at the very least, allow someone else to lead and help you into your upscaling, to becoming that new you. And I believe that God has placed people in our lives to help us get whatever it is that we need, and whatever it is that we want out of life. So I believe everything that we need and or desire is in the body. Oh, it's in the body, and God has placed us there. Yes. So it may not be all encompassed within your personal body, but it's within the body of Christ already. It's within your network that God has made available to you. Right. So learn to draw upon the strengths of your network. Learn to draw upon the experiences, the leadership, the know-how of your network, and just let it go sometimes. You just gotta let it go so that you can receive that extra, and then you add that to your repertoire. Absolutely. And you can lead at a later date in that area. Yeah. So it's scary, because I desire leadership. And I think internally my brain says your leadership is better.
Yeah, mine too. Listen,
Look,
they can do it, but they can't do it like you. Like,
yeah, and it's not to boast. I think all of our brains tell us that
Yeah.
your leadership is better, your idea is better. So look, so I think because of that we have that it's somewhat scary to just let go and let someone else have
Right. Take the
that
reins.
control because you're trusting them. You're trusting them to do what's best for you,
Yes.
and hopefully it all works out. I think I have anyway, at least two good friends that I can say
Yeah.
I can trust them. I know that they will make decisions that are good for me, and we will all grow together.
Yes.
And I'm excited about that.
Same.
Right. So yeah, because even just to piggyback off that, first of all, with the Leo thing, leadership is automatic. We're born leaders. But with that, and I don't mind giving up the work, like, because I'm a great delegator. Because I don't want to do it no way. You know what I mean? I've done it. Now it's your time to do it.
You can learn.
Yeah, you can learn. And my thing is, I like to. I just don't like being told what to do. I don't like that. Even when it's like something I need to be told, something I need to be doing, I don't like to be told what to do. So I'm working on that. But that has nothing to do with my answer to the question. I just want to put that in there. My answer would be, and I agree with everything they said. You know, I did the let go of what it looks like a long time ago. Just tell God what I want, and then see how it comes because it's always gonna be better than I thought anyway. If I let Him do it, let me do it. I'm gonna limit it. So that's why I stopped and let go of what it looks like. So I wouldn't limit what God has for me because He's gonna definitely give me what I asked for, but then it may be this much when He had this much. But mine is what I was saying to them earlier. I am very introverted. I'm an ambivert, I guess, if you know what those words mean. I can be very social. I'm not a shy person. When I show up, I show up, and I want to take over. I show up, all my light shines, but I have to go home and recharge. And I remember being, like all the times I train and have to stand before people and present and all of that. And I know I did a great job. I got enough feedback to say, oh, you did great. But I was on stage, and I cannot do that every day, all day. That's like, it drains me because I have to have my time when I'm by myself. And for me, I like to do that consecutive days in a row for the most part. And the only time I like to spend is with people that I actually like. But still, I like to say, with where we're going,
we're fortunate.
Fortunate. we
Very
made the cut, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, we made the
very
cut.
small. If you know, you know. But I say, like, I'm very introverted, so therefore I think about, and it's not a fear, it's just what I need to consider. The fact that there's going to be days where I have to be on all day long. There's going to be days, and then once you become more known, because even in my small little community or area or capacity of where I am, when I'm in a place, when I walk out my office and go down that hallway, I have to be on because it's like, hey, Dr. Harden, let me talk to you and this and that, and come join this and sit in our meetings. And, I have moments when I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to be in my office and close off and do the work I got to do by myself. But I can't do that because I got to be on. Now, when you're saying I'm going to do a podcast and I want it to do well and I want it, because we're not national, we're international. Therefore, I can actually go somewhere and people will see me and I have to be on, right? I like to say what I'm considering is when we first started the podcast, I was like, I'm going to be me, which I always am. I'm always myself. But I don't want to start being very guarded on how I do certain things, thinking about what the backlash might be, because when you see me, you're going to get this, and like I said, I'm introverted. So if you walk up to me and I'm like, hey, and then I want to keep it moving, it's not, oh, she's rude. No, I'm not, because I'm introverted. And I'm telling you that now, I'm the kind of person that I'm going to be, most of the time loud because I'm loud, and I'm going to say what I got to say, ask what I have to ask. But I don't want to get on here and pretend that's not who I am. I'm all buttoned up, So I had to consider when you get on here, what you show is what you need to be. You know what I mean? And I wasn't going to come on here and be fake, but I didn't want to hold back either, because we talked about like what we're going to wear. I was suited and booted for over 20 something years. Every day we showed up, we'd be dressed to the nines. you know,
And
heels
loving
and all.
every
And
minute
anybody
of it,
know
too.
me know that he was like,
Yeah.
girl, I ain't trying to figure out what you gonna wear tomorrow because I wouldn't wear anything twice. Like that's who I was. But I don't care about that anymore. You know, I gave away most of those clothes and things. I don't even own a lot of high heels. I don't even do that anymore. I'm very laid back, and this is who I am. So I don't want to come on here every day and then be trying to be cute and dress up. No, we work out, so I live in workout clothes for the most part, you know. And one day I might come on here and be all cute, you know, and have my little outfit on and all that. But I don't want you to always expect that. So when I get up and go to the grocery store, this is what you see. That's what you saw on screen. You know what I mean? So that's what I consider. And I consider the fact that once more people know you, it's going to be harder and harder to be invisible when you go places. So that's what I consider. Not a fear, but it's like consider that because you know how you are. So get ready for that because what you're asking for is going to require that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So get your mind right.
I love it. I love it. Get your mind right. You hear that again. Your mental stability is important. So get your mind.
You're asking for things, but what is that going to look like?
Yeah.
Are you ready for that? Same thing. Like I said, now I know I'm going to be going more places and be out more. You know, am I okay with how I feel when I'm in my clothes? You know what I mean? And you probably thinking, oh, you should feel great or self-esteem. My self-esteem is through the roof. So that's not what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is if I have a certain outfit in mind, I want my body to look right in it because you know how you'll put it on, then you see yourself in the picture and be like, who is that? Like nobody oh girl, look at that chin, look at that extra chin, look at those extra hips that you know what I'm saying? So if I can get myself where I feel like I want to be, I'm always going to be comfortable. And those are the things I think about when I say I'm going to show up for what I'm trying to be. So now I got to upscale because when I picture myself a certain way, I be like, you don't look like that now. You know, I picture myself out there amongst people all the time, and then I get this little pinch in my stomach that says, well, you better get ready for that.
Yeah.
Because what if, you got to do this on this day and you don't even feel like it.
Right.
But I know that's what I want. So I just getting my mind right. And that's the thing that I would consider.
So one thing that upscale alludes to is change, making a change for the better.
Right.
Maybe through developing new skills, new hobbies, changing something about yourself. But what is equally important is staying true to who you are. There's an old African proverb that says, to thine own self be true. Now, you may have heard other people say it too,
in different contexts,
but many of those scholars got their original training from Africa. So I go back to the source. To thine own self be true. So what is that one thing in your life that you need to hang on to? It defines who you are. It kind of personifies you in so many ways. What is that one thing that if you change it, then you will no longer be quote unquote your original self? And I think it's important that you stay true to who you are, so that when you get these changes that you're upscaling towards, it won't change your principles. I think I shared with you earlier that I'm a man of principles, and I hang true to those because that's who I am.
Yes.
And when I upscale myself, my principles will remain the same. It's just this end product that would be better.
Right.
So what are some of those things that may be important to your life that you just can't let go of, you don't want to lose in your process of upscaling?
The first thing I chuckled a little bit because we talked about this being a future topic that we speak about. But for me, it's my boundaries. I think it's important, especially when you talk about growing and becoming more visible, maybe, and more people have more access to you and your time to the degree that you allow that. I think it's important that your principles, like you said, remain intact. But for me, boundaries, it's been something that, arguably has created challenges for me in professional settings, and even in relationships. People just don't like when they can't necessarily kind of knock you off your square for their purposes, for their benefit, or manipulate you out of, your stance on things. And I'm not a person who takes a stance just for the sake of taking a stance. Boundaries are important, and so what you allow is what continues. And so if you don't establish your non-negotiables right at the outset, it can get tricky midstream. And so for me, I think that's the first thing that came to mind when you asked that question, Dr. Bobby. What will have to remain intact for me is my boundaries.
Okay. I like that. Dr. Cat, what about you?
Remain intact. Always boundaries. But remain intact. Well, that makes me who I am to the core. Mm-hmm. I speak my mind, and I'm gonna continue to do it. And I don't do it to offend. I don't curse. I say damn and hell if you consider that. I guess that is cursing, but I don't go there. You know what I mean? I don't do extra curse words besides that. I want to stick to that, but at the same time, I shoot from the hip, and that's what I'm going to do. And I don't like to sugarcoat things, but I'm gonna say what I have to say. And so I don't want to ever find myself holding back or finding myself not saying things. I've all got to think about, I do consider people's feelings, of course, but I don't ever want to hold back and then not be true to myself because I'm bottling things up. And I'm the type of person, I have to get things out. I am a confronter. I am let's have this conversation if we need to have it. And I don't ever want to not do that and say, oh, I'm not going to say anything. Or no, I don't want to do that. So that's a part of me that I have to stay true to. I shoot from the hip. That's what I'm going to continue to do. I can express myself, say what I got to say, and overall not offend others. But I'm going to say it.
And she is.
For sure. She's definitely, and she's going to say it a lot.
Well, my face and body going to say it anyway. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it gives me away, so I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Well, I think in that aspect, we're very similar. Again, I guess that's why we get along so well.
Right, Leo.
Yeah, so I have to be true to me. And I think my friends know and understand that I like to be in charge, so mm-hmm. I'm going to assert myself in that way. Mm-hmm. And it's okay if they try to knock me down and take charge. I'm good with that. They can expect that to happen. Whatever it is, doesn't even matter what it is.
Yeah.
We could just be going. We could be going to the park. Right. Look, let's go this way. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take charge.
Over here.
Yeah. And then I want to assign who drive. Right. I want to assign the speed we go to. I want to assign be in charge of the parking. Mm-hmm. All of it. Mm-hmm. I think it's better if we park over here. We're going to park in the shade under this tree.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. Or we're going to park over here in the sun away from everybody else. Whatever the case, and my friends understand that about me. They know that I am going to say what is on my mind, and that's that. Sometimes when it comes out, some people feel like it's harsh. Mm-hmm. When it may not be harsh in an offensive way, but sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes it's difficult to take. And I just speak my truth. If this is what I think, it's just what I think. If this is what I think is true, that it's just what it is. And we'll deal with it once it comes out, but it's coming out.
Right.
And my friends understand that I don't seek to harm or hurt them. I don't have malice in me. And while what I say may come off a little strange, with some people, my friends understand that it's coming from a place of love. And I don't ever want to change that. I want to be able to be who I am always, because it's difficult trying to remember who you were in this moment on this camera, or for this crowd, and then be somebody different in another crowd with another camera. I don't want all of that.
You don't want to put on.
No.
But I know people lose themselves a lot. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to make sure I consider. Like, no, let's start how we want to end.
Absolutely.
And as you upscale, don't be a victim and lose yourself. We see that. I think we see that in a lot of big name, say actors or actresses. Mm-hmm. They make it big. They create this persona, and they got to be this for the world, for all of the cameras, and then they're losing it mentally. They don't know who they are, and they're trying to piece it together. Next thing you know, they're God forbid, they're in some facility trying to get their mind right.
Yeah. And people can evolve. Mm-hmm. You can see when people evolve over time. You're like, oh, they don't look a lot like they did in the very beginning. But when it's abrupt or when it's something that's so out of character, a lot of times that's because, you're forgetting who you are and you're doing what you think people want you to do. As a child, very quiet. I was a people pleaser. I hate that word. And a lot of people say Leos are people pleasers, but I didn't even consider people. So I know I'm not doing that. But I was quiet enough not to say much. And now that I know I have something to say and I'm out I'm not going to pull back. You know what I mean? Because I know how I feel when I do. Oh, you should have did this. You should have done that. You should have said more. You should have no. So that's what I mean. I'm going to show up as myself, and here it is right here. And you may get the baseball cap, or you may get the head wrap, or you may get the curls. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you're gonna get all of it.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna show up in makeup and all done up every day. I'm not doing that. And then I might.
Well, either way, you're gonna get it. The real thing. You're gonna get the real McCoy.
That's what it is right here.
Yeah. Now we've talked about visualizing your success or visualizing your ideal. So I think it's important that you kind of verbalize that too, so that you can get that picture. Your mouth have to tell your brain what to visualize.
Yeah.
I think. So, can you share with us, as much as you're willing to share, what your ideal look like?
Ideal life?
Yeah.
Like literally.
As you upscale your life, even now, as you are upscaling your life, the podcast, the exercise, ideally, what would your life look like when you have accomplished your goals?
Okay.
Yeah. What does that look like?
Well, are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Well, if you want to get really detailed or whatever, I literally
as much as you desire.
As much as I desire, yeah. I love where I live. You know, I love, like I said, what I look like. I love how I feel. I love my communication, you know, with God. I'm able to go to sleep peacefully. I wake up, I meditate, I jump out of bed, I feed my dog, my cat. I go, I work out, and I start my day. What my day looks like. Well, I'm working on a podcast. I'm editing. I'm also working on helping others, like training. You know, it could be with different school districts. I have speaking engagements. I go and do those things. I put those to bed, and then I'm able to come home to a peaceful home, and do the things that I want to do. If that's lay up on the couch and watch YouTube all night, watch a movie. You know, I can do those things and have the entire time peace of mind and to be happy and just to have a simple life. If I decide, oh well, tomorrow I'm going to go and I'm going to go to another country, I'm going to spend a month there, I'm going to spend a week there, I'm going to spend a few days there, like just like as you said, total freedom to do what I want to do. So if I want to work into, you know, burn the midnight oil on a project that I'm doing, and I do that for 3 weeks straight, that's fine because it is a choice and it is my freedom to do that. And then maybe the next few weeks I do nothing. You know, I get to pick and choose what I want to do, when I want to do it, and just have the freedom every single day to do it. That's what it looks like to me. Now, it's a little more specifics. That's maybe something different every single day. But when I wake up every morning, I'm in full health, all faculties working, all body parts working. I wake up and the first thing I do is I spend my time with God. I greet God. I'll go through, because this is what I do. I go through everything that I'm grateful for in my head. Immediately I wake up and be like, oh, I'm grateful for being in a soft, warm bed with the pillows and my little animals are next to me. And then I got my heated blanket. And then I know when I get up and I turn that faucet, that water's going to be working. And when I turn on that light, that electricity is going to work. Thank you for that. I think my house will keep me safe. You know, I think about every little bitty thing. Oh, my feet worked when I got up and I got out of bed. And then I go into the mirror and then I start talking to myself. You know, I do all of those things. And then I'm able to feed my pets. Oh, I was able to pull food down. When I reached for the food was there. You know, I'm able to feed them and feed myself. And now I got the freedom in my life to literally go back in my bed, lay down, and from that point on, I meditate. I meditate until it's time for me to get up and then get dressed and go work out. And then I'm like, oh, I have workout clothes, I have workout shoes. You know, then I get excited. Oh, I'm going to see my cousin. You know, let's do our thing. You know, I already know what I'm going to tell her when we get on this treadmill. Yeah. I know I'm going to tell her when we walk. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's a blessing because I could be doing this by myself, but now I think, oh, I have people in my life, yeah, you know, that I want to be around, that understand me and that allow me to be me. That's a blessing because I can have all these things and not have anybody to walk through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I know we're going to hang out, have a little fun. We're going to come back and get greeted by my wonderful animals that have unconditional love for me, that I love dearly. I have a place to come back to. I have all the things. I see abundance all day long. That's important to me. The house may change, the animals may change, you know what I'm saying? The outfits may change, the workout may change, but that's what is ideal. And that's what I know will remain the same is the concept of it and the different components of it, but what they look like may change. But those components are what I have to have in my life, and that's what's ideal.
I love it. I love it. Dr. Fee, what's ideal? What does that look like for you?
Let's see. I could go in so many different directions
Yes,
with this one.
so many ways to answer it.
Just I don't want to say just, so I don't put any limits on it, but as I walk into this, or as I'm walking in this new season, being very much assured that I am where God wants me, and also like the location, the home, the car. I feel there's a shedding of all this old, and so and you know, you guys know what that's looking like for me right now. And it could feel very disconcerting. It could feel very like,
absolutely. Yeah.
But as a believer, or you know, I trust God's promises, and I understand that the old has to pass away. You can't put new wine in old wineskins. And so, and understanding also that, to be clear, I prayed for this.
Now, sometimes that's a disruption.
Right. The prayer, you know, precipitated all of this. And so understanding that this process that I'm walking out now is just that a process to get to where I'm supposed to be and what God wants me to be doing. And I get little hints and clues here and there. But an ideal life for me is a wonderful home with my daughter, and her happy and me happy, and Dr. Kate, you touched on something earlier, the ability to help others. Dr. Bob, you mentioned this too, building capacity in others. I like those things. I like having the ability to do those things. So opportunities that allow me to do that, while also providing for my daughter, that's ideal for me. And so I won't make it the super long-winded point, but all of that falls under the umbrella of what success looks like for me, what an ideal life looks like for me. And so I'm very much looking forward to what's next in this upskilling that we're talking about.
Excellent. I love it. I want to caution you to really give some thought into what success looks like for you. And I don't want you to be don't worry about how much it is you're hoping for. In fact, I think the more you hope for, the better. You want to clearly identify what it is you want, and don't sell yourself short on anything. I believe that if those things are good for you, you can have them. You can have all of those things that are good for you. And if you ask for it, I believe you'll get it. And you don't want to leave anything on the table. So if you ask for 50 when I really had 300 for you, I'm going to give you the 50, and I'll figure something out for the 250 that I was going to give to you. So listen, don't leave anything on the table. As you visualize what it is you want, go all out in every aspect of your life. Go all out. Ask for what you really and truly want. I know I will. So just to give a small glimpse into what success looks like for me, freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it, joy, peace, love, happiness with my family, my wife, my kids, though they are all out of the house and gone. Thank goodness, we're thankful for that. But I like to be able to get with them or talk with them any time of the day, whatever's going on. I don't ever want to be in a position again to where I can't answer the phone when my daughter calls because I'm working 9 to 5. My boss don't want me on the phone. I can't. I don't want those types of restrictions on my life anymore. Success for me would be freedom to be able to answer the call when any one of them call on me. If they just want to share something good with me, so an experience they just had, I want to be available to hear it. You know, whatever the case may be. And then I guess just freedom to do even financially what I want. Those who know me know that I'm an Android guy. I'm a Windows guy. But I am curious, and I appreciate that. So I am curious about these Apple, Mac people, OS stuff.
You should-
To the degree that I ordered a MacBook Pro, but not to use, not to use,
No, sir.
just to take it apart to
You
understand
better not.
it.
You better
Yes,
use me.
I took it apart.
Well,
Yes.
it's the first step, and I think you're taking it apart. He's going to end up buying one
Nope,
and use it.
nope,
Yes, you
nope.
are.
I took it apart to understand the mechanism, and I do get it.
Right.
A lot of things are greater than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, are there differences between this Mac and this Windows product?
Right.
So those who know me know I have several laptops,
Yeah.
several, everything.
You did that before, didn't
So
you?
I compare them, yeah.
but I
And
think
then
you
when
don't
I,
like
I
that,
put it back together,
Yeah.
and it
In the
actually
pandemic,
worked.
wasn't it? I think it was sometime
During the
sometimes you had
pandemic,
bought an
I did it
older one
because
or
it was,
something.
it was a little boring during the pandemic.
Right.
But then after the pandemic, I did it again just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And then when I put the thing back together, I gave the unit away
Right.
to someone who could appreciate that
Yeah.
trash. But
Oh,
wow.
really? Not trash.
Well, see, I'm gonna let them have it because after not paying me, but
yeah,
I am very
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I'm very brand. Yeah. But I'm brand loyal for now, but I'm not gonna take it personal. What's
Please
that?
don't.
One of my
not.
4 agreements.
And I don't take it personal that you're an Apple person.
Okay,
but,
we're gonna move along.
yeah, but just to have freedom to answer my curiosity.
Yeah.
Sometimes that might just mean, buying some gear offline or something and then tearing it apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a curiosity about solar energy, so I bought a solar panel and some devices to make it work, just to satisfy my curiosity, not to do anything.
Yeah, I was looking up
per
those solar
se.
wands. Some people be asking them questions, they be like yes or no or don't answer.
Oh,
and I was
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
could get my
yeah.
own wand. So yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, just to do what makes you happy in that moment.
Freedom to do that.
Sometimes it's something very small and minute, but sometimes it's very important. I just want the freedom to be able to do what makes me happy. Under the guidance of the Lord in my life,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to do what makes me happy.
Right, for the good of all and the harm of none.
The harm of none to the harm
I need to
of
do
none.
me.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do me.
Yeah. Now, again, as we talk about upscaling, we talk about change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the primary things we have to focus on is getting our minds right around that change, setting a plan in place. So I'm asking, not just for the ladies here with me today, but for you as a watcher and a listener today, what's that one thing in life that you want to change? What's that one thing in your life right now that you can upscale and make better that will give you a better life? And ladies, I'll start. Whomever wants to answer that first, I'm eager to hear that answer.
Well, I got it. Because I know me.
Okay.
And for the longest, I was like, girl, you need to get this together. I do not like doing anything I don't want to do. When I tell you, if I don't feel like it, I don't want to do it. And you cannot make me do it, and which is not necessarily good in every aspect. But like when I wake up and it's a day, I'm like, oh, I don't want to work. You know what I mean? I just want to lay here in bed all day, do whatever I want to do. When I know I got work to do, and I don't want to do it. So what I want to change about myself is do it anyway. The procrastination. Now I've had many times where I would do it anyway. So it's not like I'm just not going to and I'm gonna let things fall aside. I'm very big on deadlines. I'm very big on being impeccable with my words. Doing what I say I'm going to do. Kicking and screaming sometimes when I, commit to stuff I know I shouldn't have committed to. Getting it done. But I want to, it's just not, it hasn't been who I am to naturally just be like, I know you don't want to do this today, but girl, turn on the computer. Go ahead, and that is a struggle for me. It has been a struggle for me in the past. And so I want to do that with more ease. That's the thing I want to change about myself. I want to give myself more grace and more ease with that while I sit my butt down and do what I'm supposed to be doing instead of like waiting. And then even though I'm getting it done, it's just taking me longer. I'm a little more frustrated. I wish I had started earlier. So that's the thing I would change about myself. And if it never changes, I'm all right with that. But if you're saying that, what do you want to change? That is absolutely it.
Dr. Fee?
Sure. I would say just being more fearless and being bold. That I would change that. Again, it's happening. It's
Right.
I've demonstrated it in some areas, but it's one of those things that's an ongoing process, and it's just really a demonstration of faith. So it's really about walking in true faith and knowing
Right.
what God has for me. Maybe not the specifics of how I get there,
Right.
but certainly I would. That's the one that I would change is being less, not letting fear operate on any level, even if it's just a late, a little latent kind of, no, walk in faith, walk in boldness, and because I'm not walking in my own strength again. I'm standing on God's promises, so there's no need to be fear. And whom shall I fear? All that. So yeah, I would say that would be my main.
I guess this is why the three of us get along so well. A lot of the things that you ladies have said today, I totally agree with. And one of the things for me that I want to do better with is walking outside of fear or being able to do those things that make me happy and balance those things with what my responsibilities are, so to speak. For a long time in life, I wouldn't take big risks because I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I want to make sure my wife and kids are okay. And that kind of drove a lot of my decisions. Whereas before I got married, before I had those responsibilities, it just, whatever the consequences were for my decisions, I was open for that. Even to the degree of sleeping on my back seat of my car, as my primary residence. Didn't have a problem with it at all. Not at all. It was me. It was a learning opportunity. It was based on decisions I had made, and I was happy with that. I was happy with that. But I've learned that as I've grown older and I've gotten more responsibilities, that has changed my way of life. It has changed my decision process, and it should. But now I'm at that point to where all of my kids are grown. They're independent. My wife obviously is grown. She has always been independent enough. She was independent when I met her, which was one of the things that attracted me to her strength. And now we can do some of those things and live on the edge a little more and not have to worry about quote unquote other people or other responsibilities. So if that means for us that it's okay if we sell the house and go live on a boat for a while. It's okay if we want to go build a tent and live in that. It's just us. We can do that kind of stuff. So not necessarily downgrading my life, but just being able to make decisions based on what makes us happy rather than responsibility. So that is a change that I'm working on. Now that means a lot. There's a lot to put in there. Obviously, to do what you want, you need to have the financial means to do what you want. You need to have the mental stability and courage to do what you want. You need to have the physical ability to do what you want. So when you picture what it is you really want, give it a lot of thought because there are a lot of things that play into that. There are a lot of things that play into that, and you may need to add more goals or really look at the level of upscaling you're up for as you make these changes. So it's important that you give it a lot of thought. But we're here for you. You can bounce those ideas off of us. We'll be glad to give you some feedback. Obviously, all of that feedback is for entertainment purposes only. You do with it what you choose to do with
Edutainment.
it. Yeah, edutainment. Yeah, I love that term. But sometimes you just need someone else to hear what you're thinking, someone you can trust, someone who's not going to hold your ideas against you, and just hear a non-biased input on what you're thinking and then start to formulate exactly what it is you want because it's not very easy. It's not very easy. It is very complex, and you want to give it a lot of thought. Give it a lot of thought. And we're here for you. Put it in the comments. We'll be glad to give you feedback. Are there any other things you would like to share with the listeners, the viewers today?
No, I would say if you really want to take a deeper dive into this, you need once you figure out what I always say to people is, in a perfect world, what would you be doing? And if it's nothing, then it's nothing. You know, sometimes they say, well, in a perfect world, I would do this, I would do that. Because some people in their perfect world, they want to work. And that's fine too, because some people need things to do and they want structure and all of that. You know, I'm not one of those, but there are people that do. So what I would suggest is to think about it and then go and see examples of it, right? So then you can start picking and choosing and really drilling it down. Once you do that, I would make it concrete. I would put it on a digital platform. I would do an actual vision board, you know, just to keep it on your mind. When you walk by, you see it every day, because you'll be surprised what the subconscious mind could do and how it can get you closer, even when you do nothing else but see it every single day. I would start talking to myself as if I'm that, you know, I would start talking to myself and building myself up, you know, to take care of the mindset shift you need to make. And I would always walk and ask myself, like I would say to myself, well, a person that lives this lifestyle, would they be thinking this? No. So then I would change my thought. Would they be doing this? No. Would they be eating this crap? No. Would they at least try and work out? Yes, this person probably gets up and work out every day. So no, you don't do it all at once, but little by little, you know, just little steps that you take will get you closer to it. Because we all know, like, either you're going to be the same now, 3 months from later, doing the same thing, you will be the same person. At least in 3 months, it can look a little different, which will get you a little bit closer. So then once you do that, start making a list. Okay, if my ideal self and ideal life is this, then this is the task I'm going to have to do to get to this point. I see this person, I see me, what's the difference? So that's the list you need to make, the differences, to see what you need to change and what are the things you need to work on. Find something small, take care of all the small ones first, then start tackling the big ones. So that will be your list of that's your upscale list in a sense. You know, and then from there you start listening for opportunities to do better, listen for opportunities to learn more, and then, you know, orchestrating your life to get you where you need to be. It's probably not going to happen overnight, not that it can't, but it might not. And then you don't ever want to get to a point and then lose it all because you're not prepared for it. So that's another thing. So if I was going to give practical advice, that's what I would say. Visualize it, figure out what it looks like, put that somewhere where you can see it every single day. You can start journaling about it, writing affirmations or speaking affirmations when you look in the mirror every morning. You know, add it to your habits. You know how they say stack your habits, you know. You brush your teeth every day. As I brush my teeth, these are the thoughts I'm thinking. This is what I'm saying to myself. And it becomes automatic and you do it every day because you've associated with a task or a habit that you have. So to me, that would be the most practical thing. And once I figure it all out, now I'm making lists of what I will need to do. Probably will do it today. Probably won't do it until a year from now. But at least a list so I can start crossing things out and get myself closer. And I'm saying this to say, because I remember in January of this year when the year changed, I was like, no, I need to go home. I need to quit my job. I don't want to, you know, do this type of job anymore. I want to move. These are all the things. And so it took all the way to May to really start, you know, getting the ball rolling as far as, you know, those big changes happening. But even Dr. Adam will tell you, I would go to work and be like, I don't work here anymore. We'd be leaving. I'd be like, I ain't coming back here because I don't work here. You know, I'd be walking through I don't work here, you know, and that's because I was speaking what I wanted. And then, you know, I'm going home and I'm going, and the funny thing about it, as we sat here and we talked, this is my last comment. As we sat here and we talked, and I talked about my ideal day, it's my life now. So,
yeah.
I want to get emotional, but
glad to hear that. That's good, though. That's good.
Process to get here. Process. But I wake up every morning, I go and work out and I meditate and I talk to my pets and I spend time with people that I love, and then I come home and it's my life now. It's like, but it was not my life like 4 months ago. This is not my life. I was beyond miserable. So, but it was all of a step, and it was a trusting of God because He told me what to do. And so now I'm here, and I'm just going to sustain it and make it better. Absolutely. But I'm not going back.
Yeah.
You know, but in January, you could not have told me that this would be my life right now. I thought it would take years and planning and this and that. And it really doesn't. It's all in God's time. And it might take a year for you if that's God's time, but He could do it in a week. You know, I didn't put no limits on Him. And so when He told me what to do, I listened and I did it. with fear along many of the ways, but I have to remind myself fear is not real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was telling Dr. Fee today, I was like, 3 days ago, something popped into my head, and I literally yelled out loud to it, like, no, that's not real. That's not my life. I'm not doing that. Move on. I was like, move on. I literally said that and haven't thought about it for days. Like, it hasn't creeped into my mind. I haven't had to kick it out because I said go. And it goes, because, again, spiritual or not, you got all the power. You know what I'm saying? Believe in God or not, doesn't matter. You still have power. It's still the truth whether you believe it or not. It is still, would be true for you whether you walk in it or not. You have the power. And I know I'm under the protection of God. He tells me what to do. And whether you believe in Jesus or not, that's on you. But I said in Jesus' name because I know there's power in that. And that's what I said. I knocked it out of my head. I said, because I'm under the protection of God in Jesus' name, and walked on and moved on, and it left. And even in that, you can still have a tinge of, oh, I'm saying it, but it works. I'm telling you, what I'm saying? Because fear is always going to be there because it knows where your weaknesses are and it's going to attack you there. But you're going to have to push back. And even if you continue with the fear, move anyway. So that's all bravery is. Bravery has fear. Those are people who are afraid but move anyway. You know what I mean? Absolutely. People thinking they mean they don't have fear. Fear is there, but you move forward anyway. And that's what I would say to do. You look at their list, and the list is going to probably seem daunting. And you're thinking, oh, I don't know where to start. Start with the mind. Start with talking to yourself. Go from there. Because then God hears you. The universe hears you, which God created. So let's be clear on that. Everybody, your friends to the universe, talk to the universe. God made that, right? Let's start there. But God, the universe, talk to your spirit guides, your ancestors, whoever you want to call on, whoever you want to talk to, people around you. Get the support that you need. Start with your mindset and talking to yourself and go from there. You need an actual plan, and that's a plan that I would suggest.
Okay. That's good. That's good. I love it. Dr. Fee, what about you? Any lasting comments you want to give our viewers?
I love what Dr. Cat shared, and I second that wholeheartedly. I don't want to. I won't add. I think she wrapped that up beautifully. So.
Well, I'll just put one little caveat to it, and not to take from it, but just to let you know if it's worth doing, if it's worth having, it's worth working for. Yeah. So please know, if it's a real change, if it's a valuable change, it will require work. Don't be afraid of the work. Don't be afraid of that journey because it's just realms in the ladder to get you to that ideal place. So enjoy the journey, even though it's hard. Yes, absolutely. Now, that concludes this particular segment, but we always have another segment for you. And Dr. Cat has something good for us today. Dr. Cat, share with our audience what you have today.
Well, usually I read a scenario and things like that, but I'm not going to do that this time. So, for the segment, what y'all think?
Yes, I love it. Yes, I love it.
I'm going to basically ask a question that we're all going to answer. And it's connected to what we've been talking about. And it's not a question that we ask, but it's very important to ask. All right. So the question is, what stands between you and your ideal life?
I'll take that one.
What stands between you? Know what you want. You know what I mean? You got an idea of what it's going to take to get there.
Yeah.
But because when you think about what you sometimes seem like the impossible, something that's really big, the fear starts to creep in, right?
Yeah.
Or just practicality, creeps in, and it's like, okay, but to get like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this, I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah. Well, it could be a thing, place, person, idea, whatever, situation.
Yeah.
What stands between you and your ideal life?
I will 1,000% say we as individuals, we can get in our own way. We can stand in between ourselves and our ideal life. Because even if it's a person, place, or thing outside of ourselves, it's only what we're allowing to continue. Yeah. Or if it's like yourself, it's a lack of belief. Or it could be fear. That's a big one that keeps coming up. So mostly, I think the buck stops with you. I think you're the only entity that can hold up what is for you, the ideal life that you have for yourself. I love this saying. This saying that says, I'm sure I'm gonna kind of botch it a little bit, but the gist of it is a lot of us miss opportunities because they show up looking like work.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might, or as a challenge, and not understanding that change comes through travail sometimes. Like it's a process to get to that next level. Nothing that, well, there are things that can kind of come along, and just you get a blessing and thank you God for that.
Right.
Most things that are worth it, as Dr. Bobby was saying, is something we're going to have to strive for, work for, commit to, even if that challenge is just committing to it and letting go of what it looks like and just walking it out in faith. It's not necessarily going to be a heavy lift physically or even emotionally necessarily. It may be, but sometimes it's just fighting with yourself, contending with yourself that one, some of us don't feel worthy of a greater life.
Right.
It could be any number of things. So I would say typically I find the only thing standing between us and what we want is ourselves as individuals. And so it's a matter of you just, again, I'll throw this word out there again. I said at the beginning, aligning yourself with the plan God has for your life. You can keep, you can thwart your own progress. You can sabotage yourself, self-sabotage. And so being clear about what we want, that's another one that can thwart our path. Being clear, being very clear about what you want, and then allowing God to take you on the journey to get there. And so I would say it's me, oh Lord.
I love it.
Right.
I guess when you really think about it, practically, it's you, period. It's you that stand between where you are and where you want to be. But outside of me, and I don't know if people will quite understand this, but outside of me, the one thing that stood between me and my ideal situation was my job. My job stood in the way. I mean, my job told me what I had to do Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, the job that I had was more than just a 9 to 5. I mean, I had to keep my phone on all of the time because stuff was going on all of the time. I mean, if it could happen, it did happen. It was just one of those things. And I guess as you go higher in your profession, there are more responsibilities, more people to be responsible for, more things to be responsible for. And those things, those people, those situations, they occupy your time. They take a lot. So it keeps you from doing some of the things that you want and or need to do to improve yourself. So once I got rid of that job, man, I was able to pick up two new hobbies within 30 days. And then see the fruit of it within 90 days. It's just an amazing thing. And even with this podcast, man, there's no way I could have done this while working that job.
No,
no way.
The mental capacity, the energy.
Yeah. I would not have had it. And then I would not have had the joy because that job pulled so much of it out of me. I would not have had the joy to do something like this. But outside of me and my individual self keeping me from my ideal, it was that job. And now that I've gotten rid of that, oh God, my life has changed in so many ways. And you'll hear a lot about me leaving the job, retiring. And not that I'm an old person. I'm still quite young. I have a lot of life. Yeah. I ain't no spring chicken, but I still got a lot of spring in me. But it was just that job keeping me away. Now, for a lot of people, it may be their job. But I understand if they're not in a position to retire or quit or just walk away and do something different. But no. But for me, that was my situation. That was my situation, and I'm just thankful that I was able to walk away from it and put it behind me.
for me, what's keeping me from my ideal life? Well, nothing. Nothing. I can tell you what did keep me from it because I feel like now I'm in it, and we're just gonna keep going from there because I absolutely am. I'm actually living the way I want to live. But what kept me? Fear of failure,
Mhm.
you know, and it might come and that's fine. But I know me, and I had to talk to myself and say, but you always get up and you keep going,
Yeah.
and you find the next way. Because what I make it happen. I'm always making it happen. But the fear of failure, and I had to tell myself, well, you don't have to succeed the first time. Just keep going because that sometimes that's the path. So I resigned to that, and I've accepted that. And also making a misstep, which is kind of sort of like failure, like making a misstep because I did not hear. I've always, because I meditate, I listen, but with intuition and stuff, it's like a process.
Mhm.
You have to, because there's been times where spirit would just be like, do this, do that, but for the majority of the time, no. It's those little, inklings they give you here and there, and you have to line it all up to understand what it's saying. And I always thought, okay, well, what if I'm not mentally, like I'm not open or in receptive mode in order to hear it. But what I realized in that process as well is that God always, if I something I need to know, He makes sure I know what it is. He will do whatever it takes to make sure I figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so once I realized He's always going to make sure I know what I'm supposed to know, and then also realizing that there may be failures, but failure is not the end. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just telling you to pivot. It's telling you, oh, well, don't go this route, go that route, mm-hmm. But it's all a part of the learning. Once I put all that aside, I was able to get to, my ideal life. And so those were the things that kept me from the ideal life. And so if you say now, what's keeping you? Nothing. I'm not going to let anything keep me from it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to elevate it. And it's just going to get better and better. But those are absolutely the two things. So if you are experiencing that, God always makes sure you know. If you talk to Him about it, He's going to make sure that you know. If you're not even including Him, then, you're probably not going to hear. And I would say make sure you're in the receptive mode, because even if you fail, He's going to tell you how to get out of that. Yeah. He's going to tell you, okay, now do this. Mm-hmm. Because a failure is not really a failure. It was something you needed to know and you needed to experience. And you're looking at it like, oh, this is a detour. No, it's not. It's a setup to get up and keep going. So that's the thing that used to hold me back. And I was like, well, no, go ahead and fail, girl, and keep going. Because when you hear about the stories of people who have the lives that I wanted, they had many failures and some didn't. And that's fine too. But so nothing's keeping me back because I'm here now.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So we're here. Ended. We're done?
Well, okay. Thank you for sharing this experience with us. Again, we are DoctoredUp, and we are just thrilled that you have allowed us to come into your lives and share our experiences, and we are looking forward to sharing yours. Please put in the comments your experiences on scaling up your life, and let's be a think tank together. Let's talk about those things that need some consideration as you scale your life up. We're here for you, and we thank you for being here for us. Doctored Up, we'll see you next time.
Bye.